Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crush the EPPP. I have yet another success story with me, and I can't wait to share their story with you. So, thank you so much for joining us. Please introduce yourself and tell us a few things about yourself.
My name is Dr. Ericka Ramirez Solis, newly licensed psychologist. You didn't know that.
Oh,
I passed the
paperwork went
EPPP and got
through.
licensed 2 weeks later. So thank you, Jesus, for that. But I graduated from Alliant International University in May of 2020. And I am working at the Veteran Hospital right now with veterans, ethnic minorities, and other individuals who have experienced trauma. That is my focus.
Wonderful. So, I know you are going to continue to do great work with them, and I know they're probably always understaffed at the VA. The need is so high. So, how wonderful that you are now licensed and can keep doing this work.
Absolutely. The need is high for people that look like me.
Absolutely. Yeah, more representation in the field it helps everyone
Absolutely.
wins.
Absolutely. Yes.
Fantastic. So tell us, what was your EPPP experience like before you started coaching with me?
It was a mess. Just say. Because initially, you not understanding that what is on the EPPP is probably things that you didn't even take courses in first and first. It's 11 different domains of things after 5 or 6 years of school that nobody is telling you, you need to keep this in your brain. You need to remember this. In the end, you're going to need to take a test that is going to determine how much all this education that you are receiving is going to be beneficial to you. And so just seeing all this amount of information that I needed to get into my brain initially, it just felt overwhelming. And I got all these free materials from all the people who had taken the test prior. Just use it, just read it. Got all this advice about how I should study, and none of it worked for me. I took the EPPP 3 times, and it wasn't until I got to your program that I was able to really get into a structured way of studying that got me to where I needed to be.
Gotcha. Yes, it can feel like a mess when you're in it.
Yeah,
We just don't get enough formal training or support on what to even expect with this test. Not only the exam itself, but what goes into the preparation.
right.
And
The
that's
amount
a
of
real
money that
disadvantage.
goes into the preparation as well.
Yes. I was not aware of all the costs either and
Right,
thought I had put aside enough. Turns out I was a little bit short because I didn't know all of the costs associated.
right.
So we're really at a disadvantage, and people can often feel like they're swirling around in mess, don't know up from down or down from up. So thank you for sharing that. So, how did you hear about me, and what made you say, you know what, I'm going to give this coach a try?
My partner's supervisor said that a person that he knew used you. And
Hmm.
I was like, after the third time, I was like, whatever, I'm going to try whatever at this point. I had already bought psych prep. I bought ATABs twice
Hmm.
and still failed twice. And just right there, that last test was a 465. You know, you need 500 to pass. I'm like, right there. God damn it, I still didn't pass. Something gotta, give. And when I saw that she was Black, I was like, okay. And we got the same name. And she Black. Like this is a sign. This is a
It
sign
was
from God.
fun. Yeah, because we do know about the disparities of pass rates amongst people of color. It's
Yes.
a terrible shame that there's so much bias in this process. And I'm really trying to change that and to show people that with the right mindset and study structure, everyone is capable of passing this test. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you felt comfortable seeking out my services and ultimately it worked out. So that's wonderful.
Yes, it did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so tell us a little bit more about what specifically, like when you really think back, if you can think of like two or three things from my coaching program that you're like, wow, I think that's what made the difference. So, for those who are watching, my coaching program consists of not only weekly meetings, but also an audio program where I actually lay out all of the strategies and help people to understand why they haven't been passing. And that's called the master plan. So, tell me a little bit about what about the coaching do you think helped?
like I said earlier, the first part was the structure. I need structure in order to learn things in general. And the way that you had it laid out made it easier for me. I had already done the reading of all the material. I had already, you showed the stack of notes that I had already taken. And what I didn't even realize until you pointed it out is that I took all those notes, I did all that reading, but I wasn't looking at it consistently. I was going through all the domains like deep, deep, deep in it. And now it's time to take the test. And it was 11 weeks ago when I looked at the first thing that I studied. And so what I recognized was that was a big problem with the reason why I couldn't answer the questions the way that I needed to answer the questions on top of the wording of the test. Just why it was trickery. Like, why are you trying to trick me? I'm just trying to get licensed here. So that's what it felt like,
Mhm.
answering the questions. I have no idea what you were talking about. So the next thing would be the test taking strategy. Because even after taking this test and passing it, I left the end of the test like that was nothing that I studied. And
Right.
I passed. And it
Mhm.
was because I had my strategies. I had been practicing my strategies as well as the structure of the way that you taught me how to study, which was making sure that I studied everything, no domain left behind, right?
Right. That's my
That
motto.
exactly, that I studied every domain every week. And so as I went through the study process, I recognized as I kept looking at the material, oh, I remember that. I got that. And so by the time it came for me to take the test, I was at a point where I could say, well, I know these domains over here. I don't have to touch on that today. I can focus on what I really feel like I'm struggling with. And so that was all from what I learned in what you taught in your structure and all the things in your packet. That was the main thing. I think the next thing was thinking positive, always having me, what are your strategies throughout the week? What are your affirmations? What are you going to do to make sure that you stay on a positive tip? And the other one was being flexible and being able to strategize with you when things didn't feel like it was working, or when we were recognizing, oh, maybe this test date ain't the right test date. You need more time for this specific thing. Having that flexibility and feeling comfortable with what you had taught me to be able to push it, because I wasn't. It was a time constraint for me. I
Yes.
needed to pass this test to keep my job, and
Mhm.
going out on faith, I bought a house in the midst of not knowing
Right.
not knowing whether or not I was gonna pass this test and have a job at the end of the day. But I did what I needed to do with your program to get to where I am. And I feel like the combination of those things helped me get there. It's so important to be positive.
It sure is. I mean, that's 80% of this thing.
Yeah.
It's 80%. I mean, the structure, which is the snowball study method that I teach in the master plan, as well as the test taking strategies and all of that are great, but the mindset is the make or break.
Right. Because remember, I told you I had studied everything. And
Mhm.
I truly believe that that third time that I took the test, it was all anxiety that fucked me up. It was just all. I couldn't even sit in my chair
Absolutely.
straight. Like I'm like, I got all this knowledge, but I can't even focus on what the question is saying because I'm so anxious. I'm so nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So that positivity and practicing it before getting to test day was so
Absolutely.
important.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just the glue that brings it all together, right? Because it can literally all fall apart on test day if you don't keep your anxiety together. And I'm very open about the fact that I had tons of anxiety when I first started studying. I couldn't even get through study sessions without becoming physically ill from my just feelings of overwhelm and self defeat around this whole entire process. And
Right.
so I had to really overcome that. I mean, I had to pull out all the stops to overcome my own anxiety, which is why I'm so on top of my coaching clients about like, what's your self-care this week? What are you doing? What thoughts are you having? How are you
Right.
overcoming it? I mean, I was on top of you, nagging you that whole time, but you rose to the occasion and you really leaned into the coaching. And I know that pushing back your test date was not something you initially wanted to do. And I kind of had to like push you.
Oh my God.
But I know that looking back, it was worth it because I can always tell, like, how much time someone needs. And I know you had a lot of things that you were up against, but you
Yeah.
really trusted me when I said you need another, what, like a month, I said?
Another month, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Oh,
like, you and my partner." She was like, "Might as well." I'm like, "Okay, fine.
yes.
Trust the process."
Absolutely. Trust the process. And looking back on it, do you think if you had taken it sooner that you would have been ready?
No,
Yeah.
no,
You needed that
because
extra.
as I continue to go throughout those weeks, those extra weeks, that information really was solidified in my brain.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the reason why I passed. Because once again, like I said, even with all that information from the study material, it wasn't presented in the way that I learned it. And it was the study strategies that got me to the right answer, I truly believe.
Right. And the over learning of the content,
Wow.
people often push back, which I understand when you put hours and hours into something and you have somebody coming in saying, "Hey, I don't really think you know the content." I mean, that can be really hard to hear. And so, it's not easy when I put people on this snowball method. I'm really make them kind of go back and really go back through things with a fine tooth comb, but it is so worth it to
It
do
is.
it. Which
Mhm.
brings me to the next question. What was the hardest thing that you had to overcome going through this really demanding structure study plan that I put you on?
It's two things for me: self doubt and imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Me being a person who has always had to rely on self, I don't like asking nobody for nothing. And so to not pass this test
Mhm.
meant that I would have been putting myself in a position to need people.
Mhm.
And so that was a big old heavy weight on me. I don't want to need anybody. I need to pass this test.
Mhm.
This is like the determining factor for my life. And taking it, going in confident every time. Because I've studied for 2 years straight. I didn't even recognize it. My partner was like, "You realize you've been studying for 2 years straight." Like, I started
Mhm.
taking this test in 2020, and I gave myself, cause ain't nobody got time to be in pity, in self-pity.
Right.
I gave myself a day.
One
Between
day. That's it.
Yes, I am going to wallow in this one day, and tomorrow I'm gonna get back on to studying, and I did that for 2 years straight.
Ooh, that's intense.
And to go into the test and still not pass with all that time studying, it every time the fail, even though the score was going up. So I was doing something right, but to fail, ugh, that really played
Mhm.
on your self-doubt, right? And then I'm in a position I'm a doctor without the license, right? I'm working under somebody's license. And so my clients don't know I haven't passed the test. And so you going to work every day like, I'm an
Mm.
imposter, right?
Mhm.
I can't even
Mhm.
get through this test. Like, how am I help these people? When I'm doing
Mm.
great work, I'm doing the test has no reflection on the work that you do in the field,
Right.
right? I'm doing great work in the field, but still I haven't passed this test. I haven't done
Yeah.
what I needed to do. Like,
It creates so much inner conflict.
it does.
How you see yourself, it can really mess with your ego, your sense of
Yeah,
self. I mean,
yeah.
this thing is something, this
It
whole
is.
process.
It is a
And
daunting
so
task.
it really is, and that's why we need support. So, you are a mom
Uh-huh. A three.
working of 3. Oh my gosh, I forgot, I thought it was 2. 3.
Yeah.
So that's even more challenging. You got 3,
Yeah.
right? For some reason, I was thinking it was 2. So you're a mom, you have a partnership, working full time. I mean, you are being pulled in a lot of directions. So, what would you say to someone else who can relate to you? Maybe they're a parent of younger children who still need attention, or maybe they're a person of color, or what have you. They failed a few times and they're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Should I try this coaching thing? What is it really going to offer me that I haven't gotten somewhere else? What would you say to someone who's similar to you?
Like I said, I don't like needing people. but I needed to lean on people. I needed to utilize the resources around me. We set those strict time allotments for me to study. I needed to rely on my partner and say, she got this handle. I can't worry about these kids right now. I need to go to the coffee shop and study. I need to do what I need to do to stay focused. And so allowing people to help me. If you have people around you to help you, let them in and let them do. Give up the reins. It's necessary for you to like really focus on what you're doing.
Absolutely. It takes a
Yeah,
village to
it
pass
does.
the EPPP.
It does. It does. I had to let all that ego go for that time that we were working together.
Yes. And
And
you
I
did.
and I had to really like block everything out. I studied with the music in my ear. The kids could be doing whatever. I'm I can't hear y'all, noise canceling.
Yes.
It's a tap on my shoulder. Go ask her. I needed to really like stay focused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a big sacrifice, but it's worth it in the long run, which brings me to my last question. Now that that season is over,
Uh-huh.
it's over. You never have to do
Totally.
it again
Yeah.
forever. What is next for you? What are you looking forward to both professionally and personally now that you are free from the EPPP?
Well, I'm licensed in Iowa right now. So I'm working on getting licensed in California. California has another test that you have to take. And so I am taking a break is what I'm doing right now.
Mhm.
I'm not focused
Understandable.
I'm not focused on getting licensed in California until the kids go back to school in the fall.
Mhm.
But I'm starting a private practice after that. So I need to have my California license to do that. Starting a private practice because right now I'm specifically working with veterans, but I also want to work with ethnic minorities and LGBTQ individuals who have experienced trauma in
Yes.
the community. So that's what my focus will be. I'm also going to be looking for positions as a professor, interested in teaching multicultural or uh, clinical psychology. I feel like it's very important for people to learn how to talk to people and be authentic in the room as a clinician. Because if you come out fake, you're not going to keep your clients, right? If I don't feel like this is a real experience for me, I'm out. And so I feel like it's important for people to know how to be in a room with people. So I want to teach that course. And just right now I'm working on work-life balance. I'm getting out of study mode. I'm getting out of, oh, I have this thing over here. I'm getting out of the mode of having a checklist of things to do in my head and just enjoying the present moment.
Yeah, with your
Before
family.
we got on this call, I was doing hair. So
Oh.
I am enjoying being able to do my daughter's hair right now.
Oh,
What are we, prepping for dinner? Like back to like regular life, things that you don't even know that you give up in just the school process itself. Where
absolutely.
we going next? Like, what outfit I'm finna put on? Where we finna get out the house and go? Like that,
Absolutely,
because
those
you
little
put those things
joys.
out. I can't go to that party. I can't celebrate this with you. I'm studying. I said that for 2 years. I'm
Yeah,
studying. I can't. I ain't got to say that no more. So I'm
right.
focused on enjoying life.
Oh, I felt that to like my bones. And as a mom, it's not just you. You got these little ones that want your time and your attention. And so the fact that you're freed up now to just be all that you can be in that role, as well as in
Wow.
other parts of your life, I am so happy for you. And by the way, when you're ready to start your private practice, I will coach you through that too,
Yes, ma'am.
because I wish that there was more established coaching for that as well. So I'm like, well, I guess I got to do that too because
Yes, you do. I'm
people
ready.
need people need help with that too. So
Yes.
it has been nothing but a pleasure. I can't thank you enough for taking a moment to share your story because someone's going to watch this who can relate to you in some kind of way. And it's going to touch and inspire them and let them know that they can do this too.
Thank you. I appreciate you creating this program and bringing all of this positive energy that you have and just sprinkling a little bit on me every other week.
Right, right,
Yeah.
and it all worked out in the end, and I'm just so
Yeah.
happy for you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate your program. Anybody who is thinking about it, go for it. It's definitely worth it.
Thank you so much. I wish you nothing but happiness, joy, and prosperity.
Thank to you.